I messed up. What's up, YouTube? Welcome to the channel. So, quick backstory on what happened. The day that all this took place, our girlfriend and I, we've been moving into a new place together. So the whole day we were going back and forth from each other's houses with all of our belongings, like our couches and bed and dressers and all that stuff. And we were using my truck, obviously. So we were on our way back to her house to grab some more things, and we were going through town. I was actually coming up to a stop truck that was making a left-hand turn, and after he made his turn and I started to go again, all of a sudden I heard this like terrible sound from underneath the truck, and I immediately let off the gas, and I looked back and I could see like pieces of metal falling on the ground, and I'm just thinking, great, like I thought something catastrophic happened, something with my drive shaft or something like that. So I actually just coasted and pulled into a convenience store, and my girlfriend stopped and picked up the big chunk of metal that was laying in the road. And after pulling over and getting under my truck, I expected to see a lot worse, but what had happened was, so I'm sure most of you know I used to run a stack, and I still have that hole in my bed. Well, one of the ratchet straps that we were using to move our stuff ended up falling through that hole where my stack used to be, and it wrapped around the drive shaft here, and it ended up falling right here, and that's where it got wrapped up. And thankfully that these ratchet straps were not heavy duty ones, and the drive shaft actually snapped it right in half. But at first I couldn't see any damage. All I could see is that this boot had kind of been pushed up a bit. So I ended up taking the truck over to my mechanic's house, which coincidentally was about a couple hundred yards from where this all happened. And he got in there, he looked, and he actually was able to see that the boot had actually ripped a little bit. And he's like, you definitely want to get this replaced. You don't want any water or moisture to get in there. You're going to give yourself a lot more issues. So he's like, get online, order the boot, and then as soon as it comes in, give me a call and I'll get it replaced for you. So I went on eBay the same day, ordered the boot. I think it cost me around $24 on eBay, and it got shipped within a couple days. I just wasn't able to get it done right when it came in because I was busy, but I got all that done yesterday. So I guess the moral of the story is, if you have a hole in your bed because of a stack, don't leave stuff in there that could possibly drop through. Stupid on my end. I should have been paying attention. I should have just put the straps in the back seat. But now I'm definitely going to get that stupid hole filled up because I don't need anything else falling through. And you know what, eventually the truck's going to need a new bed. It's pretty rusted out underneath, so eventually I'm just gonna be replacing the whole bed. And when my girlfriend, she was right behind me when all this happened, and she's tried calling me on the phone. She tried honking her horn because she could actually see it hanging before it got caught up in the drive shaft. But it's not her fault. I know she tried her best to get my attention, to get me to stop. It was my fault. So that's what happened. I'm thankful that nothing else was damaged or anything like that. I also, when the truck was at the shop, the last few weeks my ABS light's been coming on, and then it'll go off and then it'll come back on. And actually my speedometer, if I hit a bump, it would like jump back like 10 miles an hour and then come back. And sometimes when I was on the brakes, you kind of feel like that pulsate feeling when you're on, like if your tires are sliding and your ABS activates. And what actually needed replaced, which I had done the same day that boot was replaced, is this ABS sensor. Let's see if I can see it. That sits right there on top of the diff. You can kind of see it right there. That sensor that sits right on top of the diff, that controls your speedometer, your ABS, your trans. It sends all kinds of information to the computer. And I also had my mechanic, just while he was in the shop, just throw a new sensor on there. And I got the truck back yesterday and the ABS light hasn't come on. So yeah, well, that was my story. I got extremely lucky. So don't leave anything in the bed of your truck if you still got holes, especially ratchet straps. Because I think another thing that saved me is you can see that the ratchet strap was still connected to the truck right there, and it tightened down and it bent that part of the bed. So the ratchet strap actually cut itself on there, I'm pretty sure. Yes, I know, stupid on my end, but hey, you live, you learn. Hope you enjoyed this video. Hope you give it a thumbs up if you stuck to the end, and we'll see you next time.